So we're trying to figure out how to play EU5. We have the nation of Naples here. I'm going to try to turn them into a political and economic powerhouse, hopefully. But of course, we're just kind of playing through tutorials at this point and trying to learn how to play the game. Mind you, probably the first thing I want to do before I go any further is just check the stream. Because last time I streamed, just early this morning, we had a terrible echo going on. I think that's been resolved. It does seem like it's alright now. Yeah, I might check it again in a moment, but for now, this seems to be pretty good. Right, so, I played this a little bit just to get started. Kicked off, went through tutorials and kicked off all the different kind of missions. And we're just gonna see how it goes. So currently working on the cabinet mission tree and we're pretty far ahead. I think this one we're just still kind of waiting for it to complete. And we need to increase our legitimacy before we can go further. Let's see, hopefully there's some cues here about how to do that. So legitimacy is a measure of how accepted a government is by the population and the states in their country. It's very much a prerequisite for running a country smoothly. At low levels, we will find that nobody wants to work with us and rebellions may break out, attempting to install a ruler that they find more palatable. So this new hint system is really nice. You can get these kind of little, cues and guides about all different systems. And we know that's needed. This is so much depth to this game. And thus it's very helpful. Alright, so we should try to keep our legitimacy high. And increase the court cost here so we can pay the high wages for one. That could help. And let's see if we can afford that at this point. We do have some ducats coming in. I suppose we could try to experiment with that. And I think also the readiness of the military might have something to do with like how well is it supported. But this is coming off the back of Victoria 3, so I might be wrong in that. I'll find out soon enough, right? Alright, so let's see. Maybe it's in the economy we can change that. Just gonna be clicking around a little bit, figuring out all the different screens as we do. Alright, we also added into production queue. We are starting to produce some wheat falls because we were buying a lot of those and that's costing our economy a lot to import all that wheat. We're trying to improve that section of everything here. So you can see through the goods menu, you can see which ones are required. And, you see here the market balance for wheat is particularly bad. It was worse before. But you can see like the supply is limited, 35.02, but we need a whole 56. And that's the most, the costliest one in our import currently for the economy. So I'm trying to improve that first off before going further. After that, it would be nice to get some fine cloth. But that's going to be something more complicated, I think. We need to get some, maybe weaveries or some sort of factories to get that done. We'll figure that out later on. First thing, raw materials. So, to that extent, I did put in these productions, and I think they should still be ticking along. Let's see. Let's see. So I was just playing Victoria 3 a little bit early this morning, so I'm still adjusting to the change. There are some changes to how the interfaces are. So I'm trying to find where to find it here. See, this is the buildings list, so you would think it should be here somewhere. Scrolling. Okay, these seem to be more related to trades and goods on the raw materials. Yeah, so if you go here, check out the different ones here, different menu options. Tax base. Control is also a big one. We actually constructed a road to go all the way south here And we sent one of our ministers or councillors here, and they're working on improving control here. It was atrocious when I started the game. So tax base was very weak down there, and our political influence very limited. Right, but I'm trying to figure out the production parts. Let's see. So I did play Europa Universalis 4 to some extent, but that's some years ago. So it's and they've deepened a lot. So from what I understand, this game is kind of a collection, if you will, of U4, Victoria 2, and Crusader Kings 3. So you have personal events and, you know, the deeper economy, though not quite as deep as Victoria 3, but there's production lines and all those sort of things. For me, that actually, it makes it more interesting, if anything. But it is also, you know, means that the learning curve is going to be much steeper, a lot more things to consider. Alright, so we have all these different kind of options here. Each county has its own kind of raw material, which you can, you know, well, get, I suppose, or harvest, that would be the word for it. And then you can kind of work from there, kind of improve them into goods and sell them on the market for higher margins, much like real life. One of my plans, if I can find the diplomacy screen here and the relations, I think we had it here. So that's the diplomacy. Yes. So Sicily, I'm building a spy network there currently. So the idea behind that is to be able to forge a casus belli, or like a reason to declare war on Sicily. And I want to go in there and capture it and add it to the bottom of my boot here, which is Naples. So it's going to take some time. First, we've got to build up the spy network, just speeding it up a little bit. And then we can send in a diplomat, I believe, to create forged documents, or use a spy network for that end. My second ride was Tunis, or Tunisia, and that aside, I'm kind of working on good relations with everybody else in the region. Alright, so I guess we're just kind of waiting a little bit. As for the option to leave your current map mode, the Ctrl-Q key combination, I'm not sure I'm too happy with that. I hope it doesn't become like a automatic kind of reaction and I'll start accidentally closing all kinds of applications. They could have picked anything else, right? But Ctrl-Q? Alright, so a new outbreak. The people of Manfredonia despair as their families and neighbors succumb to the relentless outbreak of smallpox. I'll put the mouse somewhere where I don't get a pop-up. Smallpox currently spreading throughout the area. Neighborhoods once bustling with activity now echo with worry and uncertainty. Unfortunately, there's little we can do to stop the spread of the disease into our territory. Yeah, it's a nasty one, isn't it? This is not good. Alright, so prosperity decreased by 30%. In that county, let's see, where's California? Why am I doing a French pronunciation? This is supposed to be like Italy, right? There we go. Okay. So at the end of each month, I think it is. Yes, that's when we get like the cash injection. So that's, you know, big purchase time. So that's what we heard here, like a little, you know, coin kind of cha-ching thing going on. So here we have one thing working as well, because our minting isn't good. That's why we kind of need to add hey, yeah. Thank you so much for following, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I might just do that. Yeah, I'm just starting it though, so if you've been playing any multiplayer games with it so far, I'm not quite ready. You'll have to give me some time to get acquainted with the game a little bit. Have you been playing it a lot? Like the other Victory games? Let's see. Yeah, the other Europa Universalis games. So classic got some advanced research, so we finished that. This gives me plus 20% constitutional growth. So let's see what else we can get here. Okay, so here's the thing. I haven't quite decided whether I'm gonna follow the support the monasteries and such, or like the church. We want to break free from that entirely, kind of bring the power entirely to Naples. So I've been kind of working a bit towards like a monastery sort of thing, where you have a strong royal presence, but also like build up culture and the economy around that. Alright, so let's see what else they offer up here. Check it out. So there's a lot of different ages here. Each of them looks like they have their own kind of tree of research. So it's much like Civilization 5. And that's, that's really nice. But again, it's going to take getting used to. Just kind of fiddle about, play a few games, and kind of see what does what, right? So I am totally lost here. Yeah, so these are the options we have currently. And I remember I, did this kind of research to begin with, organized religion, and it seems to lead down a particular tree. So maybe you lock yourself into trees of research for a period of time. So which of the Paradox games is it that you enjoy playing much, or most, would you say? Right, so we want a universal Christianity that would give us more diplomats, which is good. Guilds does work more into, I guess, what we're going for, like economic powerhouse. And we should increase our burghers, which is like the mercantile kind of section of the population, right? So I think I'll go for this. We'll kind of push more down this way than diplomacy to begin with. Alright, so let's have a quick look as well before I pause if there's anything else we want to produce. Because we have a bit of gold now. Maybe we can start production in a different county. Let's see. Production. Again, now my head is just geared into Victoria 3 at the moment. That's where you did all the production from the bottom here. So I'm trying to remember how we do it here. Maybe it's one of these, right? So these are the map modes, and yeah, these are all map modes, okay. Suppose we can right click to do something. Click. Let's see. Backspace. I'll just slow down time. Just let it move forward, but slow down a little bit. Goodness me, I've entirely forgotten where to go to produce buildings. Production. Buildings. Maybe it's here. Yeah, I think it's here. Okay, so probably some more granaries, right? Something related to that. Let's see. Farming village, what does that do? Food is what makes civilization run. Fields and farms plots can not only feed the population, but also allow them to keep many other animals fed to and obtain other products from them. This combination is key for making settlements thrive. So this gives a bit of work. See, a bit of income mainly. Here we go. Disease is affecting country in the smallpox. And where does it happen? Wonder if it lights it off, right? So got influenza, Ali Sakwa. So the one we were getting was the smallpox. Present in one own location. And which one is that? In Naples, yes. But is it just a town? Yes. Okay, it's just overall in Naples, and I suppose it's not, doesn't spread town to town as you would in Civ. Okay. So, let's again go back to the production. Maybe it's on the goods. Yeah, food gives an overview, and goods is where you get the raw materials. Okay, I figured out. I got there in the end. Okay. So, resource gathering operations. So, I want to build some more of those. And just spread them about a bit. I think we could do probably 2 at this point. Maybe even 3. There we go. Okay, so we get 3 of these. Hopefully this will be enough to kind of balance out this great need of wheat we have. We can see it now on the map where it's being produced. These 3 locations. And here we have, yeah, so wheat as well. What was there something else we had before? Oh yes, this is my diplomat, like my council member, which is improving things here overall. The power base in Naples. Now, with the improvements down here we have, with the control, we are getting close to the point where we probably want to move in somewhere else, to do something else for us. So the one we have here is most skilled in authoritarian sort of actions, and this one's our main diplomats. And spy work network is still being worked out, so it's gonna take a while. I guess we just wait now. Yeah, so I think the game covers about 300 years or so. So we can probably safely allow it to move like at faster intervals. And I'll be doing like pop it into probably speed 4 when I get more comfortable with the game. For now, I'm just so new to it. It's, you know, you want to move a little bit slower while you're figuring things out. Alright, so we got measles now as well. Now, there aren't too many things we can do about this. There are some structures maybe later on, I think, that can help. I think it's field hospitals and such. Don't know if I'm confusing that with Victoria 3 at this point, but I think I saw it here. But that aside, like at these early stages, there's really not much we can do. We just have to kind of weather the storm and make it through. Maybe make sure we have enough food. I heard that while watching some other stream that having, you know, a lot of food stored up for the Black Death, which will eventually come a knocking, is a good idea. But beyond that, I'm pretty much flying blind. Alright, so we're still waiting for this here. We're trying to... Yes, we're trying to increase our authority, right? So I was wanting to increase the salary, or kind of money we're spending on our cabinet members, or the cabinet. Or parliament, maybe. See, maybe that's under the economy. So let's have a look at that. Cost of court, okay. Just push up just a little bit more. Not too much. We want to make sure we're, you know, we're still making a fairly good income. Okay, we can probably afford it a little bit further. Okay, let's just leave it here and see what it does for our legitimacy and the you know, general kind of support we have for our kingdom. Alright, Chancellor coming of age. Luigi Angioli has reached the age of 16, and he is our ruler, nephew, and courtier in the Kingdom of Naples. We're throwing him a party. We did put a lot of these kids through a lot of specific training. Can't recall. I think this was one of them. Yeah, Rowdy. I think I put him through military training. A couple of them were thick as bricks, if you will. Those we just left on general training. We're just going to discard them pretty much. Alright, University of Melfi. After a series of heated debates turned violent. Scholars from the University of Naples have fled to Melfi to establish a rival learning institution there. Naples alumni make up a sizable portion of the Neapolitan, yes, clergy, and they are petitioning us to clamp down on this educational rebellion. Alright, first things first, let's find out about how large they are. Are they that important? I think it might be under government, but I'll have a look here first. See, under government, states, there we go, okay. So the clergy. Right, so they have 14% influence, I think. Yeah, the relative power. Now, our crown started with, I think, 21 or 22, so we're trying to push that up, and we're trying to squeeze out the nobility a little bit. Now, like I said, I haven't quite decided if I want to bring the clergy into this or not. I'll have to make that decision sooner or later, but let's see what options we're given. Alright, so if we encourage it, starts constructing a university building in Melfi. That's a whole 20% off their satisfaction level. That's a lot. So that's down to my 47 from 62. For the clerics to migrate. The game looks older than last one. Yeah, how so? For the clerics will migrate each month from Terra di Lavoro to Basilica for the next 30 months. You know, it might also just be my graphic settings. I'm not really running like a massive gaming rig or anything like that. So you could probably squeeze out a bit more graphics, and especially if you kind of zoom in, you know, that's when you get the you know, ground view, right? So here, if you have a beefy computer, they recommend 6 megabytes of VRAM or above. You can probably get some really nice looks like shadows and all that stuff. But I have to content with slightly lower graphics, you know, besides like I'm streaming and running some other stuff as well. So, yeah. But it's like the overall map view, so it looks a bit different. So did you play the last one a lot? Alright, so the second option, instruct the refugees to return to Naples, or Naples. Yeah, so that's the question, right? Okay. Are you thinking about possibly buying this one? Is that something kind of... You know, it only came out like a couple of days ago. I think it says around $59.99, so like $60, right? So it is brand new, yeah. So what kind of strategy games do you usually like? Because if you're kind of curious about the Paradox games, they have a few different ones which kind of focus on different... okay, so you play Hearts of Iron. Okay, yeah. So I've just started playing this game, but from what I understand from other people, is that this one feels a bit like a mixture of several games. So Europa Universalis 4, the one before this, was more about you know, grand scale diplomacy and painting the map, right, capturing areas. And I played that one a lot, and I had a lot of fun with this one, that one. This one's a little bit different. Of course, it's very different from Hearts of Iron, but it's kind of a combination, right? So it's a bit of Europa Universalis 4, combines a bit of a deeper economy and like production lines and such, and populations, and population handling, that is, that you have from Victoria 3. Not quite as deep as Victoria, but like, you know, it brings some elements over. And then it also has elements from Crusader Kings. So you do have some personal aspects. You need to kind of, you know, oversee your cabinet a little bit, like the people, and you can send out, you know, kids for educational purposes and all kinds of things, right? And like there'll be personal missions that start popping up. So it's a bit of a different game. So some people who played a lot of the other game, like European size 4, you know, your mileage or how much you appreciate game will differ depending on what you're looking for, right? But if you're looking for a warfare simulator, full-on, I mean, you can't go wrong with just playing Hearts of Iron 4, right? But this was more like a grand strategy with a lot of different elements mixed in. Alright, so the question is, what do we want to do with this, right? Do you want to support the clergy and get like, keep them happy, or do you want to get a free building here and lose a bit of clergy support? I think maybe you go religious, right? So we'll go for this. Okay, support the clergy on this, and we'll have to build our own university when the time comes. Oops, there we go. Right, so welcome to the stream. Game brand new, as most of you know, and I'm kind of learning as I go. I've gone through the tutorials, unlocked those missions, and we're just kind of playing Naples, trying to build it into economic powerhouse with time, hopefully. Played the early games a lot, but that's a while ago, so it's a bit of a review going on here. Or revision, one would say. So currently I'm just keeping the time on 3 here. Don't want to go too fast, in case I miss something. But then once I get used to all the systems, I'm sure I'll brave it up to 4 in speed, and they're on. But from what I understand, the game covers about 300 years, so we're just starting here. Whereas the last entry in the series started a bit later, and I think it was about 150 years or 200 years. There's a lot of things popping up here. We still need a bit of more minerals to be efficient in minting, so that is costing us a lot of money. That is in the production queue, I believe, and so we should be getting that eventually. Now we have a bit of gold here, so maybe, just maybe, we can have a look and slow it down a little bit. See if we can build some more economic structures to that end. So the goods, we should probably have silver under there as is a raw material. Or some sort of metals, right? So scroll. Cool. There's a lot of different things here. Now the main thing I've been looking at so far are the more expensive items, as in market balance being in high negatives. This is due to us importing a lot, and that's going to cost our economy a lot of money. So we primarily had to deal with wheat. It is improving. We have more wheat farms in production, but it all takes a bit of time. Just to be patient and kind of let it happen. Right, so these are stone, and what's this? This is lead. I don't think it tells us exactly here what it is we need. So you can see the mint inefficiency here. And that's like one of the ways we make money, right? Is to mint, much like governments do today. And I'm keeping it here so we don't, we could mint more, but then we start risking like inflation, so we get a warning there. And inflation is bad, as we know, so in most cases anyways, so we want to keep that around here. Hey Rico, thank you so much for the follow, I do appreciate it. And so I'm just trying to figure out exactly what it is we need to get in the minting, so we're not losing on it. Thank you. Have you played the game yourself? Oh, I'm doing great, thank you. As for how I'm doing in the game, well, jury's out on that one. So let's see. Yes, I was trying to figure out something with that. And production, let's go back to the goods. And hopefully, hope you're doing well yourself as well, mind you. Let's see, do we have silver or anything? Yeah, it was a very kind of relaxed morning. Had myself a nice warm cup of tea, chilling out with a bit of grand strategy, Can't complain. Life is good. That's the one, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's not jumping out at me here. So, but I think the building is more or less in this section are more for producing goods, so less so for actually, less so for creating like raw materials, which I think is what we're missing, unless we need like a minting building of some sort. Oh yeah. The least I could do, you asked me, so it's only courteous, isn't it, to ask you back. Did you play any of these other games like EU4 or Victoria or House of Iron or what's that space one again? Stellaris, right? Let's see. Here we get another month tick through. Something's happening here in the Senate. So many things to pay attention to, right? Okay, select parliament location. Okay, so something's happening here. Of course, depending where you want to put the Senate. Yeah, just chilling here, playing the game. And basically, so I'm playing Naples, right? And the idea for me now, my main goal is to create like a economic and cultural powerhouse. And yeah, that's pretty chill, right? Besides my nefarious plans here, I'm currently building a spy network down here in Sicily. And once that's built, I'm going to forge a casus belli, which gives me the right to declare war on Sicily. And I'm going to try to move in there and capture that and add that to the bottom of my boot. Right, so we got the parliament location. I don't really know what that will do, but these are power levels. So I suppose if you move the parliament to a weaker power area, that will increase the power. But is that what we want to do, though? And the powerhouse center is in Naples. Let's see if it tells us anything about this. Right, so this will call in the parliament in an attempt to get support to resolve parliament issues. I am having fun, yeah. It's there's a lot of subsystems to learn. And it's one of those games you just gotta, I guess you just gotta play it, right? So I've gone through the tutorials, and they kind of get you started a little bit, but you know, you could probably spend 10, 20 hours of this game playing it without actually knowing everything to it. You know, depending on, you know, what your preferences are. This might be something to your liking, right? Other people just want to jump in quickly and just start having fun. But if you can enjoy the learning process a bit and kind of are unafraid of making mistakes, just feeling about, I think this could be a lot of fun. And that's kind of how I'm approaching it. Let's see. Yeah, so this will call in a parliament in an attempt to get support to resolve parliament issues, change policies, inner laws, create a casus belli, raising high taxes, which we like, or larger armies and levies. Let's see. Yeah. So do you play a lot of strategy games yourself? Let's see. If we select our capital to become the location of the parliament, we'll move towards centralization. Ah, because I think that's what I want to do. Oh, okay. So I'll kind of spurred you on to have a look at the stream of Europa Universalis in that case. Oh, you're thinking about playing? Yeah. I think you might, yeah, you might enjoy it. It really gives you that kind of medieval feel, and it goes towards like the 17th century, or like towards the start of that. So you eventually move into like gunpowder, like the Napoleonic era, right? So you got gunpowder, cannons, and all that stuff. So you get a nice mix of all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if you were here when I talked about like the general sense of how this game is, like compared to earlier versions. I could tell you that again if you want. Happy to. So I've played the older games, right? So Europa Universalis 4. I played Victoria 3, which is more of a economic simulator. And then you have Hearts of Iron, which is the other one which is big in their kind of series from Paradox. They're all from the same studio, mind you. So they all have kind of similar feel, so you can pause time and let it flow forward and things kind of progress over time. So this one, the first thing is you probably need at least a decent computer to run it properly. Like I'm running this on a work laptop with 4 gigabytes of VRAM. So if you have anything like that or more, I think it should be fine. I'm also streaming, mind you, so you know that's going to take some resources. But it's kind of a grand strategy game overall, and you have both You know, need to think about diplomacy, you need to think about your own country, production of goods, maintaining your armies from your population, keep your population happy, keep them fed, get them the goods they need, build trade relations, do things like start spy networks and all sort of things. So there's a lot of fun things to delve into. Having said that, though, it is, bit of a spreadsheet experience at times. You may or may not like that, but there's a lot of depth that comes with it if you're willing to kind of peer past just the numbers and kind of involve yourself into the experience. Then it becomes really fun. Other games in strategy that I would recommend as well would be, like, of course, the Civilization series as a really kind of great one. I play that a lot too, but it's a very different experience from this one. That's turn-based, of course. Is there anything in particular you'd like to know about the game, that you've been curious about? Alright, so if I were to build it in a capital, it would be a centralized one, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to build it in Naples. So we're going to, centralize the kingdom's power and royalty and everything there. Oh, okay, so we have a debate for the parliament here. So this is also new. Let's see what this is. What does this do? So we got bolster the government, conduct the census, develop the interior. Don't need to worry about army here just yet. Okay, so this would be good if we're really pushing for the cathedral and the religious power. Also the government, probably going to be this one, because we were wanting to boost our legitimacy. Yes, let's do that. Bolster the government. So confirm that this will call in a parliament in attempt to get the support to resolve parliament issue. Okay. Yes. There we go. So that's kind of ticking along. Alright, so parliament has been called. Politicians are filing in to settle important issues for the country. Good. Yeah, so as you can see, there are a lot of things that pop up, but, there's no need to become overwhelmed. Just kind of look at one thing at a time, and whatever pops out or the other seems interesting and relevant to the situation. And, yeah, just learn it as you need. No need to know everything straight away. It just kind of comes through play. Alright, so get an army moving up here. Where are they going? Right, so we need, for royal authority, need to get up at 86. We're getting closer, 4% to go. Right. Oh, here we get something. Intervene in rival war. We can intervene in a war against one of our rivals. So that's Aragonese. Up here, I think. This could help us with our legitimacy as well. Particularly if we kind of capture something. And this might give us the chance to capture these kind of land sections. That's interesting, actually. Let's have a look at our army situation here. I think we had them here. So the first army, we have what? So is that only 100? So 250 all in all? Okay, yeah, okay. So in Victoria, each of these was 1,000, each of the different kind of units. But here is very different, it seems. Alright, so let's see. These are of course very good for riding down if they end up fleeing and maybe doing flanking attacks. And this is your regular run-of-the-mill infantry. Oops. Can we get that up again? Oh, yeah, that's another way to do it. Good. Okay. Alright, yeah, so about that time I'm gonna double check again. We're not getting any kind of echo in there. Okay, seems to be sounding alright. Right, so the footman, strength 100 out of 100, morale, no experience, haven't seen any action yet. Alright, so what's this? Speed. Oh, I see, so they cannot switch out units during a fight, so this helps the speed of that. And what's this? Flanking ability, So I'm guessing armored ones should have better, yeah, 200% flanking ability compared to 1. They are just generally stronger, but of course can be more expensive and there are less units per regiment. Should we do it? Should we engage in warfare straight away? Let's pause here, and I think that's the Argonian Navy, so we would have to sink this army as well. 7 units. What do we have? What's our army or navy looking like? Can we even do it? That's the question. So we only have 2 here. I don't think we'd be able to do much against Argonia at this point. So if you were to try to move our troops to the west, we'd probably lose them at sea, because the navy would come in, we just sink them. So I think for now we'll have to forego the war against Argonia. Tempting as it was, yeah. I was kind of looking at these regions. They are our rival, but it would seem this is not the time. We'll keep our eyes focused and set on Sicily, build a spy network, forge Casus Belli, and capture that area. Okay. I think that also when we do that, that will help us with our legitimacy. Legitimacy. That's a tongue word, that. Now we do have some other emissions here for the economy and expansion and such, but apparently we can only do one at a time, so we're kind of locked into this for now. And the current one we're stuck on is just to bring our, legitimacy up to 86%, I think it is. So 4 more to go. And we are slowly ticking up just by our general actions in any case. So that's, we get that from also things from our population, from sending goods internationally. Warfare is a big one, of course. And, all kinds of diplomatic alliances and such things. Yeah, so welcome to the stream. We are doing a playthrough with Naples, and we're trying to build them into a central diplomatic and economic powerhouse. So far things are going well, just building up the economy, fixing any kind of lack of production in grain, for example. We're importing that in the tonnage factor, which was costing us a lot, so we're trying to improve that for now. And we have our eyes on Sicily. Now, after we capture Sicily, I don't know if I'll be wanting to do any other warfare directly straight away. Maybe we'll try to focus more on just diplomatic ventures to, increase our influence. And just building up a good economy and strong trade. Make everything flow through Naples, if you will. Yeah, let's up the speed a little bit. So here's Argonia. There's a war breaking up here. So they seem to be fighting over these islands here. Looked at. Let's see. The expectations on Naples. The Senate member of Naples members of Naples are surprisingly receptive of our proposal in the parliamentary debate. It appears that the university in Naples is convinced that it will be involved in the counting and measuring that the current proposal entails, and scholars are delighted by the opportunity to take part in the gathering of new, raw data regarding our country. That's good news. Right, 5% support for the Senate. Looks like there's a bit of attrition going on. We had our skull over here. Kind of curious. Slow down a little bit. Let's zoom in. So Cagliari is fighting Naples, by the looks of it. They're sending in troops as fast as they can. Here they come. 7,000 against 153. Oh, it is not looking good for Cagliari. Yeah, I think it's a question of time before they be wiped off. Bit of occupation going on there. So they're actually going for the counties we were looking at before. Maybe we can bring it up to 4. I find it a little bit distracting to always have a pop-up. Wherever I move with the mouse, there's a pop-up on the screen. Alright, so let's see what's happening here. So 20% on spy network. The relationship building is going pretty well. And we're just about there, if not there already. So look. Royal Authority, how much do we need? Okay, so we have reached that point. Let's pause for a second, see what's next. We have greater or equal to 86.43. Oh, we have 86.29. Okay, I read it inverse like. So we just gotta wait a little bit. So what I did here, I actually increased the funds being wasted on the royal household, and that's helped to increase the authority over time. And here we go. Royal authority. And then we have the final one here. High Eras of Naples. Alright, so we need to have a stability greater than 39.9, currently at 3106. And need to hold that for 5 years. Okay. So go to the economy, balance, and invest. So you can actually spend money on stability. And then can instruct the cabinet to stabilize the country. I think I might be doing that already. And increasing the amount of Catholic clerics by building buildings with clerics. Okay, so actually have the church house for stability. That makes sense, yeah. Good governance, happy people, and the state that adequately cares for its citizens are some of the factors that shall lead to us experiencing an era of prosperity and tranquility. Okay. So, let's go through that checklist then again. So let's go into the economy, try to increase the stability, and then we can look at the cabinet after that. Right, let's see where this is. So we have the mission here as well, of course. For nice quick reference. Was the balance and yeah, balance, okay. And is it one of these? Yes, here we are. So we can spend some of our income towards increased stability. Okay. Question is how far do we want to take it, right? Now it would be nice to see how much this influences disability, so that kind of gives us like the offset of like, you know, how much to spend versus the speed of the movement of stability. I think this is probably good to start here. Yeah, so we get there. It's 0.16. And we need to bring it how far? That was pretty high, wasn't it? Submissions, we need to bring it all the way up to 39.9. Okay. So a little bit to go, about 8 to go. And is this on a monthly ticker? Or weekly? Guess we'll find out, right? And the second thing we do, we could go into the cabinets, apparently. Here. And we could put one of them into increased stability. So it's probably this one. It's not already doing it. Okay, local monthly development. He's been this for a while. So let's change that. So it should be a stability option here. Here we are. Stabilize the country. Oh, that's a warfare one. Okay, so we do want a cabinet minister with high warfare. I would have thought that. I thought that was authority, but he's pretty good. He has 54. So yeah, he will do. He will do. Oh, you dropped off. Okay. Well, welcome back. Yeah. I'm back with a band. Okay. Yeah, so we just figured out our next part of what we're trying to do. Now we're trying to increase the stability in our country. And we're going to do that by... see, we're in the cabinet, and I've lost where I was. Let's see, here we are. Stabilize the country. Go in there. And here we are. Good. So we're ahead. Yeah, so... yeah. So I'm trying to finish this mission here. The cabinet, a capable cabinet. And we just finished the royal authority. And the last one is the high era of Naples. And that requires us to increase the stability. So stability is like the measure of the kind of political stability within a country, right? And this plays into a lot of things. I've played games where stability goes into negative, and the whole economy, the whole country just starts crumbling. So you want to avoid that. So there's a few ways to do this, and the first thing I did was to increase spending towards that end, and that can be done through the economy. And you have the stability option here, and I just click this little plus, spend a bit more money, and that will increase stability. I haven't actually, I've watched a lot of playthroughs, but I've never really played it much. I played Dark Souls 2, I think, a little bit. But there was this troll that just kept destroying me in the very beginning. I didn't get very far. But it looks like a super fun game. And it's like on my wish list to pick up Elden Ring eventually. And if I do, I'll be sure to try some playthroughs here. I take it you play those, right? You're probably far better than I am. Oh no, not even close. Not even close. But they look so good though. I love watching playthroughs. I really like dark fantasy. Like Bloodborne. That was such a just cultural phenomenon. Did you play? I take it you play some of these games, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think for fantasy, like my sweet spot is like dark fantasy and like dark and gritty stuff. So if I can get my hands on those, I usually enjoy them quite a lot. So I do play like RPG games on the stream as well. But I'm just playing this now because it just came out and, you know, everybody's excited about it, myself included. Oh, here we go. Alright, I'm still no longer in the Ghibellines as the country has been annexed. Okay. So we had two factions. Oh yeah, so that's the one I'm with. So we had the Ghibellines and then something else, Gobelus, something like that. We supported the Pope, but this faction supports the Holy Empire, the Holy Roman Empire thing. And he's actually in Naples, or Naples as it's called back here. Do you have any favorites within like the Dark Souls series? Have you played them all, mind you? Because there's so many. Alright, so I'm just kind of letting time pass a little bit on here. Now, I think we're just... this is a waiting game at this point. We are just letting this kind of legitimacy... God. I can't pronounce this for some reason right now. Legitimacy. Practiced it a few times. Yeah, so just waiting for this to tick up. And then we'll maybe go for the economic tree. See what we have there. Or whatever else is next in the cabinet one. The expansion one, we don't need that yet. Yeah, but I think like for the Bloodborne game, I think that just has such a fantastic vibe to it, and the music is so good. I remember watching like a YouTube video where they had it was like a live concert, I think, in Norway, where they sang and played all the songs, and it was just so impressive. Sounded so good. And the latest games, like the Elden Ring one, is massive, right? And then you have that expansion. What's it called again? Night Rain? Is that right? Yeah, but then you have all those extra bosses and that kind of Battle Royale style play. I think a lot of people like that. Right, so it is interesting. We can see what the other nations are doing as well. So if they build a market here... Hey Merlin, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it, really do. So if they build a market here, this will be a contender to us. Oh, that's really cool, yeah. Emery's 12, yeah. I might do that, yeah. So what kind of stuff do you play? Or what kind of stuff do you stream? I might start by just checking out your stream, mind you. Let's see. Yeah, so this will compete with our main market in Naples. So I'm wondering what I can do to kind of add a... something to work against that. How can we compete against another market? What are the kind of things we could do? Are there like any laws we can implement or anything like that? Or, how can we get trade to flow to Florence rather than up here? I suppose the easiest one is, to build roads, but, they all need to lead north, so that would lead through their market, right? So probably increase like trade capacity via sea is probably a better option. Okay, so next thing, urbanization. Oops. While only a small portion of our population lives in the city. I want to get rid of these pop-ups so I can read this thing here. Okay. Alright, while only a small portion of our population lives in the cities, the growing prosperity of the burghers is attracting an increased number of people from the countryside. So burghers are the merchant faction, pretty much. So small traders and such. Some cities are growing so quickly that existing problems in terms of sanitation and overcrowding have gone from troubling to catastrophic, according to the burghers. The poor have taken up residence outside the city walls, where filthy suburbs have sprung up and diseases thrive. The burghers find the situation intolerable and are now requesting that the state steps in to provide help, both in terms of resources and the enforcement of rules outside the walls. So I guess we're kind of growing outside the walls, so we need the external wall, like they have in a lot of this old medieval cities. You see wall after wall, as the city seems to be, extending more and more. Yeah, so we do get bots sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's hard. I do get a bit of self-promoting as well. And I totally get it, like, I respect the hustle, but, it is what it is, right? Yeah, so let's see, what did I say? So the burghers find the situation intolerable and are requesting that the state steps in to provide help, both in terms of resources and the enforcement of rules outside the walls. They claim that only government intervention can turn this virulent urbanization into a positive change. So what should we do here? So we must attempt to improve the conditions. This is not unusual, the burghers can handle it. Depending on what you do here, will either positively influence the burghers or not. Let's see. I think this is probably the better option. So we lose a bit of these ducats. I think they're called ducats. Yeah. So that's gold, right? And our burghers gain 10% estate satisfaction, which is important because they're a big political faction and one we want to grow if we want to build like a merchant powerhouse. And we also gain development. On the other side, so prosperity decreased by 15% in Potenza. Not what we want. Though we gain stability. And nobility gains estate satisfaction. So we do want to support the nobles or the burghers, really. I think we go for this option. Because I'm trying to build up like a trade. And you'll get a lot this through the games. You get these choices which kind of influence, you know, what flow you want to take of the game as things move forward. So I'm going to do this here. So the nobles are not going to like it, but I'm going to support the small merchantmen. So I'm wondering if I could kind of like centralize power in me as the king of Naples, but at the same time weaken the power of the nobles and increase the kind of flow of goods through the merchants, like focus investment on that. Because, I mean, that's kind of what they did in, like, the French, I think Louis XIV did. Might have been him, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so the French king will build Versailles, and that was south of Paris, so you probably know about Versailles, like this massive palace in the southern parts of France. Beautiful place. So the reason for it wasn't just for, like, the appearance of it, but apparently, like, a lot of the noble folk and, like, the, you know, political powerhouses of, you know, these different families in Paris. See, oops, I'm gonna pause that, yeah. So these different kind of families in Paris actually were causing problems for the king at the time, right? Because they were kind of starting to take a bit of his power away while in Paris. So what did he do? Well, he basically built this massive palace to the south, Versailles, and told all the nobles that were being problematic, hey, you're going to go live there now, away from Paris, away from the power center of the political construct of this country, thereby weakening their power, right? So it's, yeah, quite clever. So it's a bit, I suppose that's what I'm trying to do, right? Alright, so we failed to bolster the government through Senato. Oh no. So this can happen as well. So what we try can fail. -7 stability. Ah, that's a bit of a knock, isn't it? Because we were so close to bringing it all the way through. It's an 86. Oh no, 39, okay. Yeah, it'll slow our progress a little bit. We'll get there eventually. We'll just have to wait a little bit longer. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's boost the speed a bit. So as for the speed, you can, it's just like the plus and minus keys on the keyboard to move up and down the speed. And you can press space to pause it and start it again. So you can pick whatever speed you're comfortable at playing. And if you really need to kind of look into something, read about something, you just pause it. And it seems to pause automatically when any kind of major events pop up. Alright, so our armies are small. 250 people. Compared to a few thousand here. So we did have the option to engage in war against Argoni. Or Aragon, rather. And that would have been a colossal mistake. Look at the numbers. 12,000 to 5,000. 22,000. 59,000. Nah, it's got to be 5,900, right? Let's see. Guess these are there's a navy, right? But this unit, let's see how many. Yeah. Okay, I'm not getting the exact detail. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Okay, so he's still trying to stabilize the country. He did fail at one time, but he will keep trying. And it is giving us that bonus of 0.08. And it all adds up as time moves onwards. Now I'm thinking about the control I've been increasing here. I'm starting to think I'm not sure we need any more control down there. So what I can do is just quickly have a look at the control. So that's the key over here. See, so actually it's starting to look a little bit better than it was. But I probably want to move him now up to this region. Maybe can I try to impose our control and rule more on these closer counties to start off with. So let's do that. So we'll go into government, and from there we'll find our cabinet here, and it's this chap over here. And I want to increase control as well, but I want to move it. Let's go to Molis, just, you know, because it's a close to Naples. We'll start by just kind of increasing the general control we have at the nearest regions. And maybe we want to build a road up here too, because that will help. Alright, so if we get the general map, I don't know if we'll be able to see the roads we have or not. Well, control is a huge factor, so that will influence like the taxation level and all sorts of things about how you influence your region, right, and your country, and how good trade and goods flow up and down these roads. So you do want eventually to have a good road network. It's like they say, all roads lead to Rome, and there's a reason for that. The Roman Empire really found that having good roads was, you know, one of the main ways to maintain power. You know, by able to have these broad, pebbled, or kind of, not pebbled, but like flat stone roads. Cobblestone, is it? That's how they managed to move their armies quickly to different regions and thereby maintain control. Before that, it was much harder, and they couldn't stretch their power as far. So let's have a look here, so you can build some more roads. Maybe one up here and one to this section here. If I can remember how to do that. Maybe we can just right click on one of these here. Build roads. Okay. Alright, so I guess if you build a road this way, it will lead to Naples and then back. Alright. It's a good start. So it does show which regions it goes into. I don't want to do too much to begin with, because, you know, we have limited resources and limited amount of production we have. So I don't want to enact too much before I know fully how it works. Now, when I started playing Victoria 3 recently, picked that up as they had a sale for the starter pack. So I've been playing that a bit as well. And at first attempts, I ended up with a production queue about 8 years. So 8 years. So needless to say, I had to go back and, you know, refurbish that and change the production orders. So I'm trying not to make the same mistake here. Alright, so we have unused training capacity, so we want to make sure we invest in that. Just click that, that'll bring this up, and should be able to spend money to improve that. Let's see. Yeah, thank you, Johnson. I appreciate that. Let's see. Does sound like another bot, doesn't it, though? It is what it is. Okay. Let's see what this is. Coming of age. Margherita Angio has reached an age of 16, and she is our ruler's niece and courtier, the Kingdom of Naples. Throwing her a party. Yeah, so this one got some good education, I believe. Gregorius, yeah, diplomatic, that's right. Now, I do have these kids coming in, growing up. I'm not entirely sure what to do with them yet, and where they fit into the larger picture. Maybe we can marry them off for diplomatic alliances and those such things, similar to Crusader Kings. But I haven't quite delved into that part yet. Let's see. Suggested imports for profits. Excuse me. Guess we can do... It looks a little bit different from what I had. Oh, here it is. Okay, so current trades. Yeah. This is probably something we can look into later, and a lot of this can be automated until you come to it and just kind of let the AI do it for it. But this is what I wanted. So we can see here now that we can add a bit of trade capacity. And by doing so, we grab a larger piece of the pie of the trade that goes through that section. So we just do it simply like that. Alright, so we just let that go on a little bit. Now, it was a bit of a kind of setback when stabilizing failed there. So we lost a whole, I think it was 7 or 8 points. So that's going to take a while to get back. Now, the bug is complaining. The bug is representing the rising class of merchants and urban dwellers that voice their grievances about the clear favoritism towards nobility displayed in our kingdom, or by our kingdom. They argue that policies supporting traditional privileges of the aristocracy come at the expense of burgeoning urban economy, stifling trade, innovation and growth of cities, which is exactly what we don't want to happen, right? These complaints have grown louder, with prominent members of the burghers highlighting the imbalance as a threat to the prosperity of the kingdom. As tensions rise, we must decide whether to continue appeasing the nobility or shift our policies to address the demands of the burghers, risking the ire of the aristocracy in the process. I think we want to help them. Alright, so society of us move more towards plutocracy. And yeah, that's what we want to do. Okay, so let's move away from nobility and more into trade and building that, getting free economy going. How is the spy network coming along? 26, getting closer, but still taking a while. Alright, cancer resolves to constant regency. As we currently do not have a king, the country is now moved to consort regency. Yeah, our king died, unfortunately, a while back, and we just had a kid. This will last until Crown Princess Giovanni Angio comes of age, which is 1st January 1344, so we have 3 years to go. Alright. During the regency, so yeah, counter-espionage, the weakened and stability increased. Oh, that's interesting. I thought it would have been the other way around. Death of a Chancellor. Sad news, King Robert's device Anjou has died at the age of 65. That's us. And he was king of the kingdom of Naples. His late majesty fell down a set of stairs to his death. Oh no. Our realm will miss his fair and impartial ruling. This is our new regent for the time being. Right, what will she do? Yeah, she's just holding the throne for 4 years for us. We have a young child, or teen, I suppose, that's about to grow into the right age to take the place. Welcome back, yeah. Yeah, so just missed it. Our king, or us, just passed away, falling down a set of stairs. And now we have a temporary regent. This is holding the throne until a young lass has come of age and will take the throne. Until then, our situation is politically unstable and uncertain. Alright, Gills Advanced Research. Guild is an association of merchants or craftsmen who have come together for mutual protection, aid, and for the pursuit of their own interests. Guilds establish monopolies of their goods and trade and set standard for the quality and price of the goods. So this is what we want. So let's see if we can have add any more tax towards more trade. Let's see. I think it was like all the way to the right where we could do things like here. Okay. There was also Christianity. So it might be one of these we want to look at. Now let me just pause it. I'll look at Tech T here. Expanded archives, diplomatic capacity. Now this is very good. But I don't really feel like we're struggling much with the diplomatic capacity. And at the same time, we also have, you know, there's no starvation going on. But I suppose if we decrease the cost of goods or food, that will possibly improve the living standards, right? And thereby kind of yeah, that's okay, yeah. Couldn't tell you why. Yeah, no worries if you drop off and come back. And just glad to hear that you're happy to join again. So we're just looking at what to research at this point. I'm thinking about possibly researching pattern connections. And the reasoning behind that is that while there isn't starvation or anything going on, I'm thinking if the cost of food goods decreases for the peasants, that will increase their living standards. And that's something we haven't really, you know, looked into so far. That will increase their happiness. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. And it will also unlock some other things like clearing of terrain, which increases our RGL, which is the resource gathering operations, which is any kind of raw material. So any kind of raw material gets increased by 10%, like any investment in that sector. And then, of course, construction speed goes up here as well. So there's a lot of good things here. So I think, yeah, let's go here. All right. We'll see what happens following this. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious where you're watching from, like what country. If you're okay with sharing that, that's fine. If not, that's fine too. Just kind of curious. Let's see. LA, okay. Yeah. Would have expected a very good and stable connection from there. So that would mean you're up super late, right? Well, I'm currently in Europe, though I do move around a little bit. Did spend some time in the States though. It was really nice. I was there for a couple of years. Never went down to LA though. It was more like the yeah, early morning. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, let's see. Something happened here. Yeah, so you may be disconnecting, but I'm just wondering which time, you know, whether or not the computer will blow up, because it's a demanding game, and I'm doing a lot of stuff on it. So I did get a bit of money in here. There we go. Okay. Right. So I'm thinking maybe we can do some more production now. I don't think I need the gold for anything else right now. Let's see what else I can build, right? Click, click, click. Let's see, production. Yeah, okay. And no, goods, want buildings. There we go. Oh no, it's good. Yeah, because we want raw material. So let's have a look here. If things aren't improving a little bit. Look at that. Olives are in a plus. Let's just slow it down a little bit. And I'm trying to find the wheat. That was a big minus last time I checked, but I'm kind of wondering if we're not doing much better with that now. What if I remove the relevant goods and we see all of them? So fruit in Dubrovnik. Wheat. We could probably search for it, right? Okay. Oh, look at that. That's so much better. Minus 5.39 from like minus 25.30. That's a blast, right? It's so much better. Okay. So our construction is really starting to pay off. At this point, I kind of want to see if I can build something else. We did have some problem with raw materials for a while, like iron and such, or silver. Here. So I'm thinking we need silver or gold. Maybe we need gold for minting, right? And I'm not sure. Yeah, it does look like we have access to, so we probably don't have a region that has silver or gold. Might be something worth looking into capturing. Yeah. Because each of these counties has their own kind of raw material. And so we can see that by looking at one of these things here, right? So we would need one to have silver or gold to actually be able to build a structure on it. Main concepts. Questions like, is the main concept of the game in general, or the main concept of what I'm going for in this particular playthrough? Because those will be two very different things. I think in general it's just like a grand strategy game, right? Which trying to simulate the economy and politics and world economies through these time periods with some historic reference and events. Yeah, what it's easy for you, right? How much time do you have? And I think kind of the best thing to do usually with these sort of games is you can think of it as a bit like a sandbox, right? They do suggest some countries to play when you start. So if you want to focus on economy, maybe they may suggest different countries, or if you want to do warfare, they may suggest other ones. That doesn't mean you have to play those. It's just these are maybe countries which are easier to pursue those paths with. And beyond that, you can pick any country you want, anywhere on the globe. Some will have more content, like historical content to them, than others. And with time, we get DLC packs, which kind of flesh out terrains and areas. But as a sandbox, you can pick any country you want, and you can decide on any kind of approach to the gameplay you want. So you can imagine, it's a bit like you're role-playing your own country. And if you approach it on that, like for me here with Naples, I have a particular idea in mind of where I want to lead the country. So my choices are reflected towards that. And, you know, they will come curveballs and all kinds of different things towards me which I don't expect, and I just have to respond to them. Sometimes I will be able to make them work in my favor. Other times they're just hurdles that will come, right? So it's a very sandboxy experience overall. I hope that kind of explains it to you somewhat. Well, like I said, if you have any particular aspects of the game that you're curious about, want to know more about, I can try to show you or try to explain it to you, as long as I've, seen it myself already. But as for production, I did want to produce a little bit more of something. So let's have a look at the economy. Just pause it for a moment here, and I want to see what sort of things spending a bit more here to get a larger part of the market again. I want to look at the markets and see which sort of things we want to produce. So, in a goods section. I think soon we'll be moving into actually creating buildings, which will create goods out of the raw materials as well. But the first thing we want to do is to make sure we cover our bases and we have raw materials to produce from. Given the sources of material we have within our region, of course. Ah, great, yeah. Okay, so I don't know if we need too much fruit, but we can build a little bit here. Couple of those fruit buildings, that should do that. Let's have a look at anything else that goes on here. Yeah, very happy to. Let's see, and then if we... You see, now you and I got lost in the menu for a little bit there. Yeah, I'm not that comfortable or kind of familiar with these things yet. And like I said, the game only came out a couple of days ago. And I only have some hours in it at this point. But I did play the earlier version of this game a lot, but that's a while back. Right, so let's see if there's anything else that's kind of high here. Yeah. Alright, so fine cloth. What do we need for cloth? I want to try to fix this here. And what's this? Furniture. So cloth and furniture would be nice. So I'm guessing there's a building. So what would be used to create clothes with? Not a dye maker. Clothes. Maybe a weaver, something like that. If that's a thing here. Yeah, if you catch it in the list, call it out to me, because there's a lot of things. Oh, Tailor's Guild. Maybe that's it, right? Let's see. The need for luxury textiles such as finely woven wool, silk, and velvet is a lucrative business that often involves the aristocracy. Developing advanced techniques for weaving and finishing fabrics, the centers of innovative often contribute greatly to local and state economics. So I guess if we build one, it gives us silk, and then it creates higher quality silks. Let's see if we can build one of these just to see what it does, right? Hopefully it'll give us some clothing, or at least materials for clothing. And then there will probably be something else to actually create the clothes with it from, right? Trade-off is tannery, that's leather, isn't it? Market apothecary, dye makers, spinner's guild. That's going to be cotton, right? So many things to build, guys. So much to do. Yeah. Okay, a carpenter's guild. We need the furniture. Alright. Do I need to place it somewhere, or is it just automatically somewhere? Oh, okay, so I can build at certain locations. Okay. Guess we just pick one at random. Okay. So I suppose the weaver we did earlier didn't actually get constructed, because we didn't pick a country. Or county, I mean. Let's try that again. Tailor's Guilds. Now, why these two counties are selected by default, I don't know. Maybe there's something... No, so they produce fruit and saffron. Not what you need for clothing, but... Alright, we'll let it happen, whatever the case be. We'll figure it out later. Like with so many things in the game, you just gotta, you know, trudge ahead, and eventually, hopefully, you'll figure out what you're doing. Alright, so things are progressing nicely. Our master plan is in motion and moving forward, which is what we want. Now, I haven't really looked too much at the larger kind of countries close by, like any potential threats. But we have been building good relations, as you can tell here. We are sending a lot of diplomats out to just keep them happy. So I can focus on Sicily and hopefully capture Sicily before too long. Looks like, let's see, we lost somebody here. King Robert, the vice of Anjou, Francis Petrarca. Oops. Let's see, with the death of King Robert, the vice of Anjou, which was our character, the kingdom of Naples weeps in sorrow, as the news of the king's passing spreads like a mournful whisper through its courts. The halls echo with a collective ache, where wise and benevolent rulers departed, leaving behind a realm draped in melancholy. So it looks like an artist is maybe wanting to do some of that. So you bring Francis Petrarca, the famous philosopher, to his burial. You better things to do. We have the money for it, right? Okay, let's do that. So apparently, you know, patroning the arts is important for your political influence. And then thereby possibly legitimate... God, why can't I say this word this day? Legitimacy. And prestige. Yeah, so you can see prestige influenced by skill of new artists. So we want to invest it as well. And that will have effect on our kind of political sway, which can also help us then build trade relations and bring more trade, hopefully, to Naples. And build up a trading empire, which is like the long-term goal. A diplomatic and trading empire. Alright, so speed it up a little bit. Oop. So it's the end of the month. Alright, so we got some buildings which are costing us money. Might want to look into that in a moment. I'll look at this first though. Let's see, our chancellery post subject regency. That's a lot of problem, right? As we currently do not have king, the country is now ruled through subject regency. We did have this notification earlier. I wonder if this is going to come like yearly, does it remind me? Okay, now it's been moved. So we had a female regents before, but now it's been moved to this King Carlos III Angio. We are waiting for a young Giovanna Angio to come of age in 1344, so up here in about 3 years. Let's have a quick look at our regent, our new regent here. See, we had him here a moment ago. Okay. Oh, is it a right click? Alright, so nothing happens. I think we're okay. Okay, you just needed me to close that little menu as well. Okay. Here he is. Yeah, so we can see he's actually sitting on our throne. He's gonna write in Naples. So that's interesting. Makes sense, right? But it's interesting to see that it's done fully like that. Okay. Okay, let me just slow it down a little bit. Just gonna have a quick look here. And let's see. Yeah, so I've been streaming for about an hour and a half now, so I think we're kind of closing another point of wrapping up for a while. And things are progressing nicely here within our Kingdom of Naples. We learned a little bit more about the game, know a little bit more what's happening and how to progressing, so that's really good. So I think I'll just stop it here for now, give it a quick save to make sure we don't lose anything. And yeah, leave it there for now. So thank you so much for dropping by stream, and thank you for the follows. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next one.